Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Flipping Pages, and in this one we're gonna have a look at this rulebook. This one's called Rules of Engagement. It's for World War II. It's done by Great Escape Games. Now if you were to look online, I don't think this book's available anymore, but I quite like this book and I would like to show you what's inside, if that's alright. I got this book I think about like 10 something years ago. So we had a couple of games with it. I quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed the system. Of course, there are many games to play with your World War II miniatures, and this is just one of them. If you can, get yourself a copy of these, or if you see this in a bargain bin somewhere or in somebody's, storeroom clearance, get it. Have a look. Wait, but before that, let's have a look and see what's inside. Let's see what's inside and see whether this is for you. At all. So yeah, they don't have this in print anymore. I just checked on the Great Escape Games. It's not in print, but that doesn't mean it's not a good book. So let's have a look. First off, it's a hardcover book. Well, don't you love hardcover books? First off, you've got I think this is a very nice touch. This is a dedication to Christopher Carlton. Yeah. So one of the members of Great Escape Games. Yeah, it's a very nice touch. I like that. So yeah, we got the table of contents. As you can see, there's lots to cover here. Lots to cover. The introduction pretty much tells you where they want to go with this book. And then you've got the introduction. Introduction is basically it's similar for almost all books. It tells you what you need to play for the folks who are first into this game, not knowing what it is. But here's the thing though, I really like the fact that they've got some nice real photographs in here, and they mixed it along with some nice pictures of miniatures. I like that. It sells the game, it sells the period, and it makes for a very enjoyable flip or an enjoyable read. So yeah, so very quickly, again, more pictures, more miniatures and stuff like that. The breakdowns of the character. Nice little huge picture there. Pictures are quite nice. Very nicely curated pictures. They've got terrain, the discipline phase, the different phases, discipline phase, the order phase. You've got a nice little flow chart here, just to be very clear on what the discipline is, or how discipline works, how it falls and increases. You've got the movement phase, you've got the shooting phase, you got the open terrain. As you can see, it's very simple. It's written as clearly as possible. Weapons have a section as well. Nice little weapons section. You've got a nice little table. Yep, you need stuff like this as well. You got close quarters, QQB, close quarters phase. So it's a hand-to-hand combat, and you got some additional rules, medics, NCO stuff, fanatics. You got rules of vehicles, more photographs, very nice. Vehicles have their own little section, of course. For most games of rules of engagement that we've played, we've only had maybe like one tank, maybe two support vehicles. So this is not really a very tank heavy kind of game, but I think if you're playing a big game, or you throw the rules out pretty much, you can actually play it with more tanks, I guess. But yeah, most of the games I've played, I've only had one tank or maybe two support vehicles. And as you can see here, the vehicle damage table tells you that what happens to the vehicle after you shoot at it, comes to play. So it's that into the game, whereby you know what happens to the tank when you fired it. Armaments on the vehicles, and you've got the so you got all these different rules, addition fortifications, more fortifications, which is great. Artillery support, and you got scenarios. I think this is nice. This gives you a quick jump into the game. So you got a scenario generator. So when you play, you can actually roll on this chart and have a look at the different scenarios that you've got. And they describe the scenarios pretty much as simply as they can. Now, this is something I will come back to later. So as you can see, you've got the force brief and recon force. Now all of this, like I said, I'll come back. I'll come back. Oh, a piece of paper here. I'll come back to this. I'll come back to this later. So you got scenarios like a recon. You've got take and hold, escalating engagement. Advance to contact. Hold the line, rear guard, breakout, ambush, sabotage. And then you got the campaign part of the book. What this is pretty much, well, it's the campaign part of the book. So it's stitching everything together. They can actually play, and they actually give you a nice way of like showing you how you can. So if win attacker next game, blah 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 blah. This is very nice because especially for newbies, it's nice to have a book that shows you everything you need to know. And campaigning is one of the ways to enjoy the game. In fact, I think campaigning is almost essential for anybody playing World War II. That way, you're very conservative, or you can be either conservative or bold about how you use, your resources, and that will reflect in the next engagement. All right, so as you can see here, this book covers 1944 to 1945. So it's Operation Overlord to the fall of the Reich. A little bit of history. I like this bit. This is the breakdown of the generals or the commanders of the different divisions in the armies and what they were set out to do. I like that, especially again for the newbie. This sheds a lot. This helps the newbie see the whole World War II theater, especially 44, 45. Clearly with knowing what had to be done and what they were commanded to do. Then you've got breakdown of the different, from D-Day, the different beaches, then you got a little bit of maps to show where everything was. I mean, this is pretty standard stuff for World War II, history books, but it's nice that they put it into a rule book as well. And then as we go through, you've got more and more history. So for the newbie who just gets the book, or if you're a newbie who does not know anything about World War II, this is great because it fills in all the gaps on what you don't know, what you never thought you needed to know. We've got a little bit of a map. Then you got the infamous Operation Market Garden, and it's broken down by date, which is excellent. I mean, I remember going through this book slowly on a train ride, and it's nice because it's written quite nicely, and as you go through page by page, it actually brings you along 1945. And if you're a newbie, I know some guys who don't play but they just read rule books. I think this is one of those rule books where that you can read, that you can actually read. It's got a lot of little quotes and stuff like that, which is kind of great. It's like this one, the pattern quote. You got more maps. You got Battle of the Bulge, Invasion of Germany, and then just make it much easier, they've also given you the chronology of things from 1944, June 6, 1944 to May 8th, 1945, and where things are in the timeline. And then just to add a little bit more value, they went and researched the equivalents in ranks, so you can actually in many ways role play. For like I said, for the guys who are new, this is great because you're immediately able to take on the role or the figures that you're playing with. Then you've got a gallery. I'm gonna call this the rogues gallery, but it's not. It's the generals, a little bit of information of who they are. Very nice touch, again, very very targeted at the newbie. And then you got the orders of battle. Now the orders of battle is it's kind of unique to most war games because this is how they set up how and when and who battles in conflict, and they have how to use it. In this one, it follows the usual, a platoon needs platoon commands and it needs two squads, pretty much standard. And then they break into the factions, and this is Germany. Nice picture there. You got the German special rules 1944, 1945. The grenadiers, and you've got the grenadier platoons. You got all. Actually, if you look at this, you got the reputation. And tactics, in rules of engagement. So they've actually helped you out. So if you have chosen to choose the grenadier force, they've given you some tactics that you can actually use. This is kind of great because in many ways the makers are giving you some insight on their games, for, again, very much targeted to the newbie, which I like. And for the guy who've played a few more games, this is also great because it helps you see what the feel is for this rule set. Then you got the German grenadier platoons, and you got the the OOB, what they're armed with and stuff like that. Squad breakdown. You got the Panzer G guys. I like the fact that they've also talked about the elite formations. 116 Panzer Division. And the Panzer Division. Not many makers make the Panzer. I think War Games Atlantic does. So if you've always wondered what the Panzer Division was, you can actually read it here. Or now it's a good chance to head on over to War Games Atlantic, because they have it, and you can actually use that for to play rules of engagement. Then you've got the Panzer G platoons, the breakdowns of the squads. They got the Volksgrenadiers or the battle platoon. It's basically done in it's very simple, as you can see. It's just charts. So you've got the the stat, the movement, the shoot, the weapons that they have, and some notes. So you can actually flip through this page very, very quickly and just have a look see. Then you got the Fallschirmjäger. Of course, you gotta have the Fallschirmjäger. Fallschirmjäger platoons, platoon command. This is actually, if now that I think about it, it's pretty much very reminiscent of how rulebooks were at the time. So this wasn't so strange at the time, but now it's a nice throwback, and I think it sort of works. It's simple. It sort of works. Then you got the Waffen SS, a little bit of history of the Waffen SS, platoons. Then you got the divisional support, and these are the vehicles. And you've got the quick infantry weapons table, the support weapons table. And then you've got this bit. I like the fact that this rulebook actually has a hobby section. So what it does is it teaches you how to hobby. Now, their method basically is basically their own, but I like the fact that they recommend it. Everything from basing before you paint. I usually paint and then I base. So this is their way of doing it. And you've got things like hey, use a box when you want to spray figures. But very nice. They've got adding detail, painting techniques. It's pretty much, if you're a newbie, this is the book to get, if you ask me. Then they've got a nice section on terrain, which is very, very important to a war game. Something I think a lot more rule books should look at, because part of wargaming is terrain, and this one actually, it's got this nice little terrain board, and it points to the trees and the hedges, ruined houses, water and stuff like that. And you've got modeling, how to model houses, vehicles, how to add additional details. And then this kind of interesting. So they actually teach you, what the numbers on the side of the tanks are, even the symbols for the allied stuff, what does the circle mean, what does the triangle mean. So I thought, that's kind of neat. A squadron is a triangle, a square is B squadron, and C squadron is. I mean, for the new guy, this is something which they don't know, including, like I said, the numberings for, German tanks. They don't know this. It it's great that they added it into the book. They didn't assume that the player knows this, and just went in and just added just a little bit there, and it goes a long way. Honestly, it goes a long way. Got some color pictures here, which is a nice thing. Some color pictures, some descriptions as well. And then I think this is the color part of the book. So you've got like really nice like shots of the terrain tables or gaming tables, which is always very inspiring. Very inspiring for me. You gotta inspire the gamer into your game, and this is definitely one way to do it. You show off your table, show off your table. This gives older gamers and some extra ideas, to actually take from this, and the new gamer on what they need to do next, what happens next, what it will probably look like when they're done, or you're never done, whatever it looks like as you're building it. And then you've got like more pictures. Yep. You got the Panzer G painting guide, so really nice. They've got they describe it every little bit. Like for example, rank marking for NCOs were on the left and the right sleeve of the jacket. There you go. For the Panzer G guys, and then you've got a painting guide for the Waffen SS, the Fallschirmjäger, the British and Canadian infantry, the British airborne, the commandos, the US infantry, the American airborne, the marquee, the marquee, and then more photographs and more pictures, to I think I want to say ram the point home, but no, it's just pretty. It's just pretty. It's nice to have, nice for you to look at, when you're dreaming about what else to build or how far in the hobby that you're gonna get. We just then it continues with the breakdown of the Allied forces. So it's the German forces and the Allied forces are split by this color section right here. So Great Britain and Canada, and then you got the British infantry, rules for the British infantry, British platoons, the OOBs, British airborne, bit of background as well. British commandos, Canadian infantry. Warlord Games have just released the Canadian starter British and Canadian infantry set. So now you can use this rules, and you can use those figures. Nice picture of the landing right there. What else? Canadian, order battle, divisional support. There you go. And then the United States, and they got the US special rules, US infantry, infantry platoons, the breakdowns, more or less pretty much the same as with every army. They standardize everything. US armored infantry, US armored infantry, the infantry squads, company supports. US airborne gets a nice fat section here for reading. Then you got the para OOB. US Army Rangers also in this book. OOBs for that as well. It's nicely done. I like this as well. There's this white space there. Instead of putting a picture, they put a shadow of a gun. Very nice. More tables, and then you got the marquee. The marquee gets list as well, which is fantastic. OOB for the marquee. Actually, I think Warlord Games has some marquee figures as well. So does War Games Atlantic. So you can get those figures from them. Weapons tables. They got the appendix. And this is basically much most of all of the stats. I mean, all the charts, in one section. So you can go back. No, this is interesting. Now that they have an FAQ section. Now, if you notice, much earlier on, we talked about the army list and scenarios. Now, rules of engagement has no points value, and this is pretty much how they are running it. So I thought that was fantastic. So if you let's see if we can look back here. None of this lists come with points, right? So you're supposed to play this on strictly OOB, which brings us back to let's see now. Let's see how far back we can go. So like breakout, so there's no points. There's no point. You use your order of battle to set up the scenario, but you don't break it down to points. It's just what you have. Some platoons may have more, some platoons may have less, but there's no point cost, and yeah, I can't have I can't have many tanks. I want more tanks. So yeah, so obviously, like the games I've played, we only have one or two tanks, and one tank and like a couple of support vehicles. When asked, why can't they have more? The writers say, no, go ahead, go ahead and do that. And this section actually was actually kind of great because it shows that the game was tested quite a bit, and they've gotten some feedback, and the most common questions were answered. Then you got the counters, the templates. This bit I like. So they've actually what they did is they've actually listed down a bunch of companies that actually do World War II figures, everything from First Corps, Anglian Miniatures, Army Group North, which are basically not so well known, all the way up to like more famous like a Bolt Action Miniatures or Foundry Miniatures. Then you got some useful websites to go to, which is great. Terrain accessories, they give you a whole list of places you can go to. Why? Because sometimes as a newbie you start from zero, and I know the internet's a great place to go. The problem about the internet being a great place to go is you need a place or somebody to point you to, and this is great. This one page is nice. They have to do this, but it's nice. They also got movies, so you can actually like list the movies. A Bridge Too Far, of course, A Bridge Too Far. I've seen all of these movies, to be honest. So you can actually check out the movies that they recommend to start off before moving on to more movies. Of course, now it's 2023. There are a whole bunch of other movies for you to check out as well. But again, they didn't have to do it. This is great. This is a great part of the book. They got a bibliography, so when you wanna read more, they give you a list of books that you can go and have a look at, which is again an added plus. Then you got the index for a quick reference, and then you got blank pages for you to write stuff. So yeah, that's Rules of Engagement. Again, this book is not in production anymore. But if you head down to the Great Escape Games website, there is some rules for you to use to play this. But if you're out on a secondary market or you're looking and you find again somebody clearing out their collection and this book is in it, go and get it. It's a good book. It's a great book to gift to a newbie, and if you're a newbie playing World War II, it's a great book to pick up just as something to read, as a resource book, my first resource book. So I highly recommend this. It's a good book. It's a pity it's not in print anymore. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed doing this flip throughs. So I'm gonna be doing a lot more of these. Like and subscribe as per usual. And again, we have a Buy Me a Coffee. So if you feel like you want to buy me a coffee, go ahead. The link's in the description. And don't forget to enjoy painting those figures.